Oh, Yomalies, welcome to the Naked Mennonite, a place for the black sheep from any flock. I'm your host, Stephen Harder. So great to have you here with us. We're still a really new channel here, so your presence, your views means so much to me. If you are enjoying this content, every like, every comment, every sub has a tremendous impact. It is really valued. So thank you for just being here and contributing to what I'm putting out. I've noticed I've got a really squeaky chair. I don't know if you've noticed, but I notice it a lot when I'm editing. It's a squeaker. Let me know if it's distracting or if it just makes it extra real to have chair squeaks in there. I've noticed that a fair amount of the engagement I get in my videos is coming from people of the Catholic persuasion, which is meaningful to me because my life, even though I'm the Naked Mennonite, my life was certainly impacted by the harms of Catholicism. Mom was definitely a struggling repressed Catholic. So big impacts on my life. Coming from a steady stream of Catholic shame in my growing up years. But when this video came across my TikTok feed, I felt like I couldn't help but address it a little bit. We've got a Holy Mother here. I think that's what you call them, Holy Mother, a nun. We got this lady. She's hosting a call-in show, and a gay Catholic calls in and she wants to impart some wisdom to him. So let's join this unnamed Holy Mother and see what advice she has for this struggling gay Catholic Christian. Take it away, Holy Mama.
Well, Mother, I'm gay and find it difficult to be gay and Catholic. And I was just wondering if you have any suggestions of what I should do.
Okay, I've got a side story that is somewhat related here. There is a Catholic monastery out in the middle of nowhere, not too far from where I live. It's a couple hours away, right? And it has this guest house attached to it where the monks host folks who just need a place to get away, right? So they can come, they can stay there, and it's all just a service that they offer. And I stayed there once, kind of as a bit of a writing retreat. You know, needed to get away from the pressures of being in a closeted marriage, and do some writing on a script that I felt inspired to write. So I stayed there, no charge. It was great. There were a few other guys who were staying there as well, and I remember specifically that there was a priest there, and he was on retreat with someone else from his church. He was kind of like a farmer, a single farmer, a deacon of the church, and they were, going on retreat together. And we would all share meals together, and I got to know these two, and it struck me that they were this beautiful paradigm of two supportive male friends. They were kind of quiet and considerate and thoughtful and caring, and it just was this beautiful platonic friendship that it was so nice to see this priest being supported by one of his parishioners. And then years later, I was like, Oh, damn. Oh, they were two single men on retreat, away from everyone, away from prying eyes, sharing a room. Oh, they were supporting each other. Got it. And all that to say that there are so many men who are coerced into the priesthood because of their sexuality, right? That being a priest is viewed as a refuge or a trap for gay men who thought that this was the only way that they could be holy before a homophobic God. And I'm just a little bit jealous, just a little bit, because as an evangelical, there was no option for me. All there was nope, you can't be gay, period. You must be straight. And for guys like myself within the Catholic faith, there was some wiggle room. You can have gay inclinations and you can serve God all the better because of it. Because you can dedicate your life to God, not worry about getting married, and all the while you'll be in close, personally intimate contact with these other men in power who understand your struggle, and they won't judge you and they won't condemn you, and what you do in private is what you do in private. If I had been raised Catholic, would I have fallen into that trap? I don't know. And it's just too bad that their faith has its talons in them so deeply that they just can't conceive of leaving it behind and just being happy with themselves apart from what their faith says.
Well, when a person says, I am gay, which you just said, it's hard to understand what you mean.
Oof. Well, I kind of assumed that this was a conversation your father would have with you, but tell you what, you tell me what the kids have told you, and I will fill in the blanks that they have left out.
Does you mean you have the inclination? Well, you can certainly be a very wonderful Catholic and have the inclination.
Yes, as is true of many of your priests. That's the thing about worshiping Mary. It attracts guys with similar baggage, ones with distant father figures who adore their mothers. I get it.
Now, if you say you're actively gay, it's impossible. Why? Because to be actively gay is to commit grave sin. See?
Call me crazy, but I think to knowingly cover up sexual abuse within the church and to protect the perpetrators rather than deal with the issue is an even more grave sin, because one creates more victims while protecting a powerful authority structure, while the other is just people loving themselves and loving others. Tell you what, why don't you get your house cleaned up first before you lecture people on sin? Because forcing men to be celibate, gay or otherwise, causes problems, period. And y'all have just got your head in the sand over it.
And there's so much, I'll bet, there's so much you can give to God. And even though you have an inclination, and even though you find it very difficult to overcome, you can with the grace of God. And you can become very holy.
See, and there's that hierarchy that Protestants just don't get. To us, God is holy and people aren't. We're all sinful. We're all messed up. We're all equal, more or less. We don't think anyone in the club is holier than anyone else. We save that judgment for people who are outside of the church, which, of course, is the function of the church to inform you of who is in and who is out.
That's why it's so important that we have the Eucharist. The Eucharist is that power within us to help us all overcome our faults and weaknesses.
One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small. And
The
the ones
Eucharist
that
is
Mother gives
that
you
power within
don't
us.
do
And
anything.
That's magic thinking right there.
We all have faults and weaknesses. Some are angry when they were more angry.
Do not get me started on Christians who condemn anger but then twist themselves into pretzels when they have to justify righteous anger. Yes, the Bible condemns anger. Yes, God and Jesus got angry. Make your peace with the contradictions in the Bible.
We all have a sinner condition to fight with. But don't get discouraged, please.
You don't have to fight who you're attracted to. You can just accept it and yourself. It's not as complicated as you make it out to be.
Pray more.
I'll admit that I'm aware of the benefits associated with praying. For the person who prays for others, it helps with empathy and taking themselves out of their own spotlight. And that's a good thing. But praying that God will do anything, least of all change you? No, that's not good. At most, I'll give you that there is benefits to aspiring to be a better person, and that by reflecting, contemplating, meditating on those aspirations, you're setting a higher bar for yourself. That's as far as it goes.
Do things for people that are ill, that are lonely.
See, that's good. If you are able to help others, you should help others. That's why I'm doing this, because I've always wanted to help people, and I was so lost when I lost my faith as an avenue for doing that. And that's why this work here is meaningful to me, because it can actually make a difference in people's lives. And if you'd like to contribute to what I'm doing here, drop a like, drop a comment. They go such a long way.
Read some good books by the Holy Fathers, by the spiritual writers.
Okay, 1, no. 2, that's something I have never understood about Catholics. When Jesus says, don't call anyone Father because you only have one Father and he's in heaven, like, I get that as people we view that metaphorically, right? We recognize that we still have a physical Father who fathered us here on earth, but that we have a spiritual Father in heaven. I get it, but why do Catholics double down on that and call their priests Father? Of all the terminology they could have chosen, they choose the one that is the exact one that Jesus said not to choose. Baffles me.
That's a weakness you can overcome.
Loving someone, being attracted to someone, not a weakness, period. It's not complicated. Stop trying to make people miserable.
And no one, for example, if someone says, well, I like robbing banks.
I had someone close to me once make that simile, that being gay is the same as being a murderer. And it pains me that they were so closed-minded, that they were being brainwashed in such a harmful way, that they were trained not to trust their own thoughts, that saying two men loving each other must be wrong in the same way as violently ending a life. Because if they would just think about that idea critically, they could find the flaws in it. I know that they could. But this indoctrination just had such a hold on their thinking patterns. That is not healthy. That is not healthy. That is harmful.
No. You say you can't be a Catholic and be a very happy bank robber.
And yet, it's estimated that the Catholic Church is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So clearly, Holy Mother, you are wrong. You can amass massive wealth on the backs of the poor and still be a very happy Catholic. That is what your system is predicated upon. You are fundamentally wrong.
You see, I cannot say I love God and then I'm willing to offend God.
Then please explain to me why priests who victimize children are still priests. They are willing to offend God, so they cannot say that they love God, right? Their superiors are willing to cover up their crimes. They are willing to offend God, so they cannot say that they love God, right? Where is the wiggle room? Because they are living with sin. They are living with the cover-up. And that is an offense to God, especially on the backs of children. The only difference is that sin is still a secret, compared to the person brave enough to live their queer life out in the open. You tell me who is closer to God in that moment.
Well, I will pray for you. I don't know your name. But there are many gays who watch this network. I know you do. Because you're unhappy with yourself.
No, you are right. You are right. There is a great many gays who are unhappy with themselves, in part because they're seeking validation from a system that will not provide it. They want to be a part of this tradition from their youth, and they are being denied, and that makes them unhappy. They are being told that they are the cause of that. Of course they're going to be unhappy because they're putting their trust in the wrong place. The solution is not to change who they are in order to obtain that validation, but to stop seeking it out in the first place. When we stop caring about what the church wants from us, it loses its power.
But you can overcome. You can become a great saint because of the power of confession and the power of the Eucharist.
Just magic. Magic.
Body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus. Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you shall not have what in you? Life.
It is so weird / unsettling when they put the blood magic front and center like that. She is describing cannibalism like it is no big thing. And I'm so far removed from that. What kind of setting do you need to be raised in for eating a person to be a regular idea that just doesn't faze you? I don't get it. Thankfully, I wasn't raised Catholic, or maybe I would be in the exact same trap. So there you have it. Holy Mother's advice for a gay Catholic. I give it a fail. That was some bad advice. I would not suggest listening to her. But what do you think? Am I missing something? Is there some magical power in the blood of Christ, in the Eucharist, in the voodoo, in the black magic, the white magic? Is this white magic that the priests practice? I'm just a poor dumb evangelical. What am I missing out on? Tell me all about it. Until next time, this is Stephen Harder reminding you that underneath our clothes, we are all naked. I'll see you next time.